Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, my name is Dr. Keith McNally, and this is the Question Guy podcast. And look who I got on the call today. This is Dori Staehle. She was on the call many, many months ago. So when I first started this podcast, she was gracious enough to give me a drum roll, which I've never had before or since. But this isn't about the drum roll. This is about her being an author. Dori, you've actually written two books, right? But
Yes, I
yeah,
yeah,
right?
I have.
What are those two books?
The first one I wrote in 2015, and that was called Find Your Divine Rhythm, a Creative Success Formula. I wanted it to be a business blueprint for creatives and musicians, but I found a lot of my entrepreneur friends bought it as well because it had a lot of business tips in it. And you know how it goes with your first book, you just don't know what you're doing. So I threw in like way too much probably in that one. Could have been three books in one. The second one I wrote in 2020 during the pandemic,
Wow.
and that one is called Rise Up and Rock, Activating Your God-Given Purpose. So it's a bit shorter than the first one, but it's packed with lots
Let's
of
see it.
nuggets and lots of inspiration.
Rise
There
up and
you
rock.
go. There I am. That was
And
not my idea to put myself on the cover
well, you're on the
again.
cover, so I kind of makes sense because you use that term rise up and rock a lot. You are a drummer. You are an you are a creative, you're an artist, you're a musician. But what's the impact of the book?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people just assume that my books are going to be about drumming. I don't know how you would write a book about drumming because you really have to do it. So, no, both of my books were geared towards anybody who felt stuck, scattered, stressed out, didn't know what should I do now. And that's why all of my businesses have had the term next stage in it because it means moving people on to the next stage of their lives.
Right.
So, with this book, what I wanted to do was to reach people who felt lost, Keith, because during the pandemic, I kept hearing it over and over again. Even after things opened up a bit and I was able to get out there more and do more of my uh, drumming programs and things like that, a lot of the women, especially, were saying, Dory, I just don't know what I want to do in this stage of my life. And I thought, well, that's perfect. And even some of the teens, because I was working virtually with teens all over the US doing drum therapy programs. But my programs include a lot of mentoring and encouragement. I always say it's got a lot of M's: motivation, mentoring, ministry, and music, because you get a lot of that in everything I do. It's just woven together. And the teens were also saying that they felt isolated, they felt stressed out, they felt anxious. And a lot of these teens and women were Christian. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Is it a lack of faith? Is it a lack of trust? Is it a lack of direction? What is going on? Because I just assumed that Christians, especially if they have a strong faith, they wouldn't feel that anxious and stressed out, but they did.
Okay.
So I just said, well, let me write a book to give them some hope, to let them know that I rose up against all odds. And oh, by the way, here's a whole bunch of other people that I got permission to use their stories as well.
Oh, so it's just like a short, is it like a memoir short story book?
No,
Wait a second.
it's nonfiction,
Okay.
but
But
I
it's
wanted
people
to include,
stories.
what's that?
It's people stories.
Yeah, it's people's
Oh,
stories, fellow entrepreneurs and creatives
uh-huh.
who rose up against all odds and created a business doing what they love.
Cool.
And I even have some examples of teens that I've worked with back in the day when I was booking and managing young musicians, just so that the teens would say, hey, I told them, hang on, guys, I have stories for you too. So wait a, it doesn't really matter how old you are. I always tell people, just start, you can start with what you have, where you are right now. Age doesn't matter, because I have worked with young people, as you know from the last interview, and they were making money with their gifts and talents.
Wow.
So you never
So,
know.
so, so are you the primary story in the book, or do you really give emphasis to other Christian women and their stories?
Well, of
How does the
course,
book
I,
lay
I
out?
give them my backstory
Okay.
because What most people don't know, but now they will, is this photo was taken shortly after I was healed after that freak accident that we talked about.
Well, that wasn't no freak
And
accident. You were run over.
yeah, I was run over. But when people see that picture, they say, wow, you look so happy. And I said, well, the photographer asked me, what do you want your photos to convey? And I said, joy and freedom.
Cool.
She goes, good, you brought props. I did. So I brought a tambourine and I took that shot. And the gal, Desiree Bonner, who helped with the editing and the cover design, she found the photo. This was not the photo I was going to go with at all. She goes, oh, you have to put that one on there. It just has so much energy.
Yeah, and I was about to
So,
say that very word. It looks like it looks like energy. Yeah.
yeah, to let people know that I literally got knocked down, but I was able to put myself back together and rise up, and I didn't give up. I kept going, and I didn't know that I was going to create this drumming business at the time. I didn't know where I was going with, but I knew that I needed to do something, and I needed to help people. And what talent do I have? It's like the little drummer girl, the song, The Little Drummer Boy. I'm going to change it. The Little Drummer Girl. There we go. I had one gift, and it was drumming. And I thought, how can I use this to bless others so they get to hear how this crazy idea that a lot of people really gave me a hard time about in the beginning. So if anybody's thinking of
drumming?
starting a business or ministry, be prepared, because not everybody's going to embrace your passion or your idea.
That seems. Tell me about that. Why?
Oh, I got everything from, these are direct quotes, from networking meetings. Dori, you have an MBA. You need to drop this drum chick shtick. I said, it's not a shtick. Dori the drum chick. People gave me that title. I didn't give it to myself. I said, I play a lot of different kinds of drums, and this became a business. And he just didn't get it. People thought, oh, it's just a hobby. You're too old. One woman said, you don't look like a drum chick. I'm like, what, am I supposed to be covered with tattoos? What do you want? I said, you should hear me play. Ha! There we go. So, but yeah, people who just gave me a hard time. This is too woo-woo. This is too weird. Somebody actually coughed, the fake cough thing during a network meeting. Hippie.
Really?
I said,
Oh my
wow.
gosh. You need to find
Yeah.
another networking group.
These were all different ones, and
Oh,
then
okay.
you get all the trolls on Instagram and YouTube and whatever.
Yeah.
You have to learn to shake it off, and you have to ask yourself, how important is this to you? If you stay where you are, what will change? Nothing. So what do you need to move your gifts and talents forward? And oh, by the way, it's not about you. It's about using those gifts and talents to bless others. If you
But
hold back,
can we
you
talk
won't
about that
benefit
then?
anybody.
Can we talk about that? How,
Yeah.
about blessing others. So, how has your drumming blessed others? I would
Well,
like
the
to know that.
drumming by itself, again, it just started as a fun idea. Let's see if I was going for stress relief and reduction of ADHD issues. That's really all that I was thinking. I really didn't understand at that time how far reaching it would be until more and more people were coming my way with all different issues. And it's like, oh, Dori, can this fix it? Hang on, I got a beat for that. And before you know it, Keith, it's been actually technically 10 years, but I'll say 8 because, I was drumming while I was injured, so I wasn't probably as effective. But just say 8 solid years, and I have worked with thousands of people
Wow.
in person. So, and then you figure all the podcasts I've done.
Oh, wait.
Yes, what?
Eileen Build.
Yes.
Yes, I just had a conversation with her yesterday. She
Cool.
tells me because you know each other.
Yes.
And well, I didn't know that. And so she's in Florida. She's got a drum.
Yes.
Yes. You taught her how to drum, didn't you?
No,
Oh,
actually, on occasion, when I feel that somebody needs a little extra boost, maybe they're struggling, maybe they just lost someone, and I actually do reach out and offer them a free drum healing session,
oh,
which
cool.
drum healing is different than drum therapy. They just sit and receive
Oh,
for, 15, 20 minutes or so, and it actually works even through the computer. And that's what we did. And it's just, I say things to inspire them and tell them to hang
Is that
on.
what you did with Eileen?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
So I
wow.
used a djembe drum. Of course, I have drums in every room, so I used one of these. I don't always use a djembe, but when I do, I pick one that matches my outfit. Anyway,
It's beautiful.
and and that Native American buffalo drum that I used last time, and wow, she was just wide open, which just means that she was ready to receive, and she didn't do any over analyzing like some people do. She just relaxed and let it sink in and soak in both the sound waves and what I was saying and all. And she had a very powerful experience, so it was
Oh,
cool.
oh, well, she didn't. I need to get back. I need to get the two of you on the call because that would be a conversation. She shared with me her story yesterday, so that was a blessing for me. But then your name came up because she said she had a drum, and I'm thinking, you got a drum? I know somebody who's got a drum.
Yeah, I don't think she was in a place where the drum was at that point. So,
Okay.
so anyway, yeah. Again, it's all about using your gifts to bless others and whatever I have. And obviously, I do get paid to do this, but every once in a while, it becomes more of a ministry where I know I have to reach out. Sometimes people don't respond, and and they blow me off. That's okay. They'll come back around. But yeah, the whole purpose of the book was mainly for people who can't work with me or, they're not ready, but they do need direction. So as a former business success and ADHD coach back in the day, I said, okay, well, this is kind of like a coaching program in a book. There you go, 15 bucks.
So can you talk about some of the stories that are in it? Like some
Oh,
of the
yeah,
like
yeah.
the more, I guess the ones that are more far reaching, those who really have impact.
Sure. Yeah, there was one gal whom I met when I was at the working with a church band. But before I was with that band, she and I went to France with the whole team. I was their translator slash cook slash band mom. Our son was the drummer, and they had a percussionist. And so she and I got to know each other that way. She left, moved to Florida, and I kept in touch with her. Well, I did not know that she experienced cancer and went through the whole chemo and that whole thing, but she fought back and she rose up and she is in remission, and she started a business, and not just any business. The girl is like construction girl. She was doing kitchen renovations.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome for anybody, but somebody bouncing back from cancer, that's huge. So she started a business. Just first, it was started out with refinishing furniture, and then it grew because people were asking her, just like me, can you also do this? Can you also do that? So she has a nice business doing that. Another gal I met, and we went out for a coffee meeting there, and she was just starting out. She had an idea for a painting business. They have a lot of the women on the call might know some of these paint parties, wine and design, that sort of thing. You get together, you have wine, you paint a painting, you have an instructor that teaches you. So she wasn't sure because she had just come out of corporate. I believe she was laid off.
okay.
And again, same thing. In every case, the same thing that I asked God when I was injured. Now what?
Mhm.
What am I supposed to do now? So as she was talking, she was worried. I don't know, Doris, this is going to work. I don't have an art degree. I said, do you have any samples of your artwork on your phone? I bet you do. She goes, yeah, let me pull them up. She pulls them up. I'm from a family of artists and musicians. I know a good artist when I see one. I said, girl, you don't need an art degree. These are awesome. This is going to take off. You're sitting on a gold mine. Mark my words. And we talked a little bit more, and sure enough, that business took off like gangbusters, and she didn't have any problem filling seats. And she did quite well with that. I believe she's since moved on to something else, but that was pretty cool back in the day to just take a hobby in both cases
Mhm.
and convert it to a business. And of course, you have other people like Cheyenne. She and I are working in the nonprofit arena, just trying to create mostly empowerment programs, things like that. And you just never know where your gifts and talents will lead, but they're not going to go anywhere if you keep them in the closet all packed away.
So let me ask you, what is the challenge of the difficult parts of getting past that, we talked about being stuck.
Right.
Um, there has to be a leap of faith or a leap of trust or something that in your head says, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can be. Can you talk about that?
Great segue. Yes, Keith. What I discovered working with women, especially over the years, even when I was doing like I had a coaching plus drumming kind of program, it wasn't a lack of money that was causing these women to not be able to move forward. It was a mindset issue every time.
Really?
Lack of confidence,
Okay. And that makes sense.
right?
Money helps too, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but because there's always something, I don't even know what it is that says you, something in there that says, no, you shouldn't do
Right.
this. What is that?
And it boils down to one word: enough. They always say, I don't, you ask anybody who just isn't moving forward, and they will give you the following excuses. You know,
Not
I'm
good
not
enough.
old enough. I'm not young enough. I don't have enough money.
Okay.
I don't have enough skills. I don't have the right degree. I don't have the right contacts. It's always, in essence, what they're saying is they don't have enough of something. But underneath that all, what they're saying is they feel that they're not enough.
Hmm.
So
How do
we
you
need
get,
to unpack that and
yeah,
figure out, where did that come from?
well, tell me, where does that come from? Because
A lot of
if
it
that's the
comes
stumbling,
from
go ahead.
some sort of childhood experience,
Oh,
either a parent or a teacher or someone along the way convinced them that they would never be good at something.
hmm.
In my case, way back when, I was told that girls don't play drums. I'm that
We
old.
can
There were
disprove
no
that.
female
Yeah.
drummers. There weren't.
Well, you're right.
And I was also told that musicians don't make any money. And that was my dad, who was a former musician. I think he was just trying to save me a lot of heartache because it is a
Okay.
tough industry.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you don't try, you'll never know. So I didn't try. I gave up and I went into business. My first job was in international business on Wall Street, believe it or not. I was a credit analyst in a bank. And then later I worked for a French bank uptown. And so, yeah, international banking sounds very glamorous. I did make a lot of money back in the day, but my heart wasn't in it. And it wasn't creative enough.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, I had to really take a step back and think the older you get, the more you do this. I took a step back and I thought, who am I really helping here? I'm helping the bank make a lot of money because we had a lending portfolio in the billions.
Hmm.
And this is way back when.
Well, yeah.
But we were just helping big businesses making more money.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, I really want to do something that's more personal and that impacts people in a very personal and deep way.
So you said part of your book talks to teenagers. Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
In what
I
way? Like
Well,
how do you inspire them?
in both cases, the women and the teens, what they're really missing, and the reason why they're so confused is they don't have their identity. And if you're a person of faith, for my fellow Christians and anyone else out there, doesn't matter what your background is, they need to know who they are. Not only who they are, but whose they are. And once you know your identity, in my case, your identity in Christ, you know who you are and what you should be doing. It kind of falls together. It's part of your divine assignment. It takes a lot of peeling back layers to get to that, though. And I do walk people through different exercises in the book and action items. It's not just all stories, just to get them to think outside of the box and what they could do. So it helps with entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, any age, future creatives, or people who are already trying to get their business or talent off the ground, or a ministry. A lot of people who want to start ministries, but they don't really know. They keep it on the down low and really, really small, and they don't realize that if you connect with others,
But I have a question, but I don't want to extend this
Sure.
too long. Is ministry is that like an entrepreneurial effort? Because that seems more spiritual in nature. So, like I said, it may not be appropriate for this conversation and maybe a future conversation,
Yeah,
but
yeah. The answer to that real quick is yes and no.
see, I'm
There
not
you go.
gonna win.
There you go.
I'm
So
not
a
gonna.
lot of us, there's such thing known as kingdom-driven entrepreneurs. I'm in a group with that exact name. It's a coaching group, and many of us have what we call a business tree. You're
Okay.
doing business, in the marketplace, but you're also ministering to others at the same time.
Okay.
So, I have an LLC, so I'm definitely a business and not a nonprofit. But there are people out there who they still need to, even if it's a ministry, even if it's a 501(c) or whatever, they still need to know some marketing and some business concepts. How I'll talk about the 30-second commercial, the importance of knowing your elevator pitch so you can create a solid business plan. It doesn't matter if you're in a business or a ministry. If you're going to do a pitch of any kind, you have to be really clear about what you're trying to accomplish, who you're trying to reach, all those business tips that you would need to really move your business or ministry forward if you're looking for funding, especially.
Okay. Well, with the limited time we have left, I want you to give younger entrepreneurs, not compared to us, but young entrepreneurs, maybe, teenagers or college students, Christian, who are in that stuck position. And what would you tell them to kind of get started?
I would tell them that you have everything inside of you already to succeed. Everyone has at least one gift or talent that you were given from birth. It's in your DNA. How it's going to come out and manifest itself, might vary, and sometimes it happens in seasons. So don't think about, oh, you have to pick something that you want to do for the rest of your life. What can you do in the next 5 years, for example? And again, it doesn't matter what your age is. Just watch Shark Tank, kids. I mean, you can see a lot of these young entrepreneurs start with an idea and then figure out who do you want to help and why. And then you can start thinking about how are you going to get the funding? How are you going to get this off the ground? How are you going to market it? You really don't need, I've got an MBA. You don't need one. Ask me how much of my MBA I've actually used. I'm pretty much self-taught in many areas. So don't let that deter you. Don't let your age bother you. Don't worry about, well, I'm too young. If you present yourself well and you have the confidence and you come across really well, and you can sell it. You can sell that idea. You can really engage people, but come from the heart. Make sure what you're doing is coming from the heart and not because of, I want to make millions of dollars as a YouTuber. I get that a lot. Really? I would think that in today, so many people around the world really need a boost. So I would really, really like it if kids and adults would think about what can I do to give back? What can you do to make the world a better place? It doesn't have to be, save the planet kind of thing, but even on a small scale. I'm sure you can think of at least 5 ideas.
I love that. Dory, thank you so much for this
Sure
wonderful
thing.
conversation and empowering and energetic. I love your energy. I always love your energy. Show up your
Thanks.
book one more time. Let us see the energy in your book. Rise
Sure.
up and rock, everybody. With
There we
that,
go. Do we need a drum roll to go out or not?
wait. This has been another edition of the Question Guy podcast. Dory, go ahead.
All right, here we go, folks. You're
I
never
love it.
too old and it's never too late to rock what you got.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you.